Hello, YouTube land, and welcome to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, episode 31. I am your host, Dantes, and of course, joining me, like always, the man, the legend, and the man that they call the Splatoon God, Caleones. How you doing, Caleones, in this beautiful, beautiful night?
Hey, how you doing, Dantes? How you doing, everybody? And yeah, I mean, we've already had sad news earlier this year or last year because of certain things that happened with Nintendo. I mean, they're doing great when it comes to their stocks and everything else, but we have another piece of the company that's going to be dying as well. So we're going to delve into that. Also, we're going to be discussing about how developers are embracing the Switch this year, and something that they asked developers what they were thinking about the console and their the details from that coming from Gamma Sutra. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about what we believe about retro. But go ahead and Dantes and take it away.
So, Caleones, we got some exciting news tonight, right? And the exciting news is that we have expanded our repertoire. What I mean with that, and we already started some of the shows, but I think we're going to name them more officially. So anyway, what that means is every Monday we're doing Xenoblade Mondays, where your truly, whatever, will upload one Xenoblade Chronicle videos. I could be killing a super boss. I could be explaining some mechanics in the game, or I could even be showing the map of the whole world. I don't know. We'll get crazy, of course. And then, of course, on Fridays, the Toys and More Club will do Minecraft Friday. So that means for you, my peeps, because we're celebrating for with all the love that we've been getting the last couple of weeks, Caleones. So we wanna give it back. So let's run that down quickly. Mondays, Xenoblade Mondays. Tuesday, Force In Unison live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesday, streaming Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Friday, Minecraft Fridays with the Toys and More Club. And, of course, Saturday, the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast. So, full channel schedule in the description box below. Anyway, with that said, Caleones, let's do that sweet-ass rigmarole so we can get into the topics really quick. I want to welcome everybody to the Get In and Get Out Nintendo Podcast, episode 31, right here at the Force In Unison Gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment so you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also, remember, if you don't want to see ugly faces, hey, it's all good. We got a solution for you. Go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, we do have a Facebook page called Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dante says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and get some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, Caleones, are you ready? I said, are you ready? So, for the no one in attendance and the 9 people watching around the world, let's get ready for Reggie's Hot Topics of the Week.
My body is ready.
My body's ready. Caleones, what is the first topic?
Well, I would be taking my hat off if it wasn't that I got a crazy hair day, but we are receiving sad news, and we actually received them yesterday that Miitomo, Nintendo's first smartphone app, is going to be put to rest. So the service will be ending on March 9th, and basically any coins that are unused, people are going to be reimbursed for those coins. But as far as Miitomo, whenever we first heard of Nintendo, jumping into the smartphone apps, it kind of caught us by surprise because Miitomo wasn't really something that we expected. We expected them to go with something like like a Mario or Zelda or something like that. But Miitomo was completely I guess like an out of the box kind of thing, and it seems like it didn't really. It pushed the brand a little, but it really didn't do what Nintendo was expecting, for it to do. The application itself is driven by Mii's, so you have your Mii character in it. You can play dress up with them. You can interact with friends. It doesn't really have a messaging service, so you cannot really chat or something like that. It's more so about asking questions and things like that. So the interactivity is limited to some extent, but uh, well, it was a first effort by Nintendo. Of course, they have bigger money makers, like for example, like the Fire Emblem Heroes. That makes them a lot more money than something like Miitomo ever did. But what do you think, Dantes, about Miitomo going away?
So I admit I've never played with the app, so I don't know what the hell is the app for. I know it was big news, and I said we should talk about it in tonight's Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. But what I understand is they had some chat features. You could dress up your Mii, and I think build a house, right? And you could buy. You have in-app purchases, so you could then pimp up your, I guess your avatar. I don't know. So I don't know how the people who spend money in the app feel. They're probably like mad because the app only lasted maybe a year and a half. I don't know how long it lasted. To me, you can see the difference, Caleones. This is the difference with Kamashima being the lead of Nintendo of America. And what I mean with that is, I believe, personal opinion, based on what I've seen, with Iwata, he gave stuff a little bit more of a chance, and he was willing to take losses a little bit longer if it needed to be, if he believed in the product, if he believed that it could create a fan. But with Kamashima, he's saying, axe. He's axing a lot of stuff. He says, he's not making money, he's not getting us where we need to be. Axe. And that's what I think is happening. Kamashima is not a patient man. He sounds, and maybe that's why Nintendo is doing so well. I don't know. I think Iwata imprint is still there with the Nintendo Switch. But what I'm saying is, with the new president, it feels like he's more of a businessman, and he's gonna make decisions quicker if it have to be. And I think Miitomo is the perfect example of that. So.
Yeah, and that's something that we can see because Iwata, he started as like a programmer. He worked on games like like Mother and those like back in the day. So he started from inside the development side of things. With games. Kimishima is something different. So he's more like a businessman than anything. But something that we're not seeing is we don't know about the investors, how much the investors are putting pressure on Kimishima and Nintendo to do certain things. So to go to release more applications, to do out of the box kind of things like Nintendo Labo. So we don't know how much pressure they're putting, but at the end of the day, Nintendo, yes, to me they make the greatest games of the world. They're an awesome company for adults and kids, but they are a company, and companies are made to make money. So Kimishima, he is a businessman, and he needs to make sure that Nintendo continues to trend in an upward position.
Yep, I think we both agree. I mean, it's sad to see Miitomo die. For a lot of people who are probably, feel maybe they feel sad because they spend money on the app. They feel betrayed. I mean, you got the right to feel that way if you spend a lot of time in the app, but business is business. And I'll bet you $100 if it was Microsoft, if it was Sony, if something's not making money, they would be axing it too. Well, I'm still surprised Sony hasn't axed PS Now yet, but still, it is what it is. It's a business, and they have to do. So we agree. Anyway, a lot of chat. The chat is popping tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. 15 people watching. That's I think that's a new record for a live show. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Caleones, let's go to the next hot topic.
Well, something I wanted to say before is that before we continue over to the next one, probably another reason why people are feeling sad is because I think it was like 2 months ago, we had Miiverse died. So we're seeing Miiverse die, we're seeing Miitomo die. So it's kind of like that trend. Even though Nintendo's having a lot of success, but we're seeing those things happening, and that's it's a really good telling that the last generation it's dying, and Nintendo is full on with the Switch and everything else. But at the same time, Mii's, even though you use them as your avatar, they're not as featured as they used to be on the Wii and the Wii U. So that's probably another reason why, because you don't really see the Mii's that much except for when you're creating your avatar itself. So that could be another thing. They could be moving away from the Mii's altogether. So we'll know later on when it comes to that. But yep. Going over with the next one is in the Game Developers Conference, they had a talk with Gamasutra, and they actually reported that there's actually a surging interest from developers on the Nintendo Switch. So they stated that last year, The developers said that 3% of them were working on the Nintendo Switch, and that number has jumped all the way up to 12%. And when it comes to developers interested of making games on the console, they're currently at 36%. Uh, when last year was at 15. So, to put it in perspective, when they asked, the one that got the most, the biggest percentage was PC, with 59% of developers saying they're making PC games. Next, it was the PS4 at 39, the Switch at 36, and the Xbox One at 28. So, thinking about, PC is always going to have the biggest one, because games are easier to make there. Anybody can make games on the PC. You don't need development kits or anything like that. But yeah, what do you think about those numbers, Dantes?
Good, good. I believe probably that those numbers come more from independent developers, because the independent developers are finding so much success with the Nintendo Switch. So I believe that number is more, So what I want to say is that, please, Nintendo fans, simmer your expectations. You are getting more AAA third-party support, and it's growing little by little, but it's growing. So that's good news, because the Switch is selling. But I must admit that those numbers are probably a little bit more skewed to the independent developers. And the numbers don't lie, Caleones. Every developer, every indie developer has been saying that the Nintendo Switch version has been selling the most. I think the Switch just completely, if the Vita had a little bit of market, it completely swallowed it, because this machine is perfect for indies. You take it on the go. You can play. Celeste is becoming a huge hit right now, and I see a lot of people excited about it, which is a game that came out this week.
IGN gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So again, you can see that developers are finding great success with the Switch, and that's why those numbers are growing. And I'm really happy, because again, this system is just cool. Yeah, this is the first product, I have to say, from Nintendo ever since the Super NES that I say it's cool. And what I mean with that, no respect for the N64, GameCube, or Wii U or Wii, but all of them as design outside to look at were not that great. They were felt a little bit like a toy. This doesn't look like a toy. This really feels like a high-end electronic product. So I'm really happy for the Switch, and those numbers are good, Caleones. I think that means we look forward to a lot of good games coming up. So we should be good.
Yeah, and there's a second part to that news story, and it's that only 16% of people that were asked about game sales on the console, only 16 of them said that the games have sold less on the Nintendo Switch than the other consoles. So that tells you, I mean, we're seeing it every day. They're talking about how games are doing on the Switch, how great they're selling, or even how much better it's sold on the Switch compared to other consoles. So those are the news stories that we keep hearing every day. And for only 16 of them to say that they do not sell well on the Switch when compared to the others, that's a pretty big number. That tells you that 84% are telling you that they sell just as good, equal, or even better. So that's another great news on Nintendo.
But to defend Nintendo, if your game is good, it will sell on the Switch. Those that weren't saying they're not selling, it's probably like the game like Troll or something like that they're crap, and I don't know, it just got through. It's like you have to strike right now where the eShop is growing, so your title is gonna be more visible. And if your game is good, it's gonna sell. I'm telling you, it's gonna sell, because it now is the time where, again, if you go to Steam or PSN, you're gonna get buried with all the games that they have there. So this is the time. Just be a good game, and I'll guarantee it will sell. Anyway, Caleones.
Yeah, and that's something else that Nintendo's doing, that even though they had a big output last year of how many games they released when compared to other years, they're still spacing them in a way that the two Nintendo titles are not going to galvanize each other, except for ARMS and Splatoon after it released, but that games from third-party developers and indie developers, they can still come out in between those and not be like overshadowed by the bigger games. So yes, Nintendo still needs to work on the eShop, because as it gets bigger and more games get in it, you gotta find a way to be able to like find them. So maybe have like the Nintendo Indies section like they do with the presentation, just have a section like that on the eShop to make it easier. But they're still doing a pretty good way of making sure that companies have the spotlight when it comes to game releases. So that I'll give them props when it comes to Twitter and videos on YouTube and things like that. Nintendo's doing a really good job.
Okay, Caleones, let's move to the next topic, which can be a little bit controversial. It's gonna be interesting when we talk about this one. But anyway, Caleones, go to the next one.
Okay, so this one I'm gonna let you take over, but I'll explain it. Basically, we're doing a double dip when it comes to the rumor that Retro Studios is working on a non-gaming project, which means it wouldn't be a Metroid, it wouldn't be a Donkey Kong Country game, or it would be any type of game per se altogether. So, for Nintendo to be working, or for Retro Studios to be working on something like that, what do you want to say? Because I know this is something that you wanted to talk about again. So, tell us what it is that you have in your mind.
So the reason I wanted to talk about it is because this news kind of scares me a little bit. And the reason I say that is because Retro is a talented developer. We can't deny that. The history show itself. Their games are high rated. And it feels like this could be happening. Sometimes rumors can come through. And it feels like Nintendo did waste a little bit of this talent with the Donkey Kong. Maybe doing 1 was fine, but doing 2 was a little bit an overkill in my opinion. And then, possible news that I don't know if they're working on Labo, but if Labo is going to make them a lot of money, Nintendo's not going to care. They're going to put Retro where they feel they're going to make them money. Again, Kamashima. Axe. He's going to do whatever it makes them money. So he's not gonna care, my opinion, even though I'm concerned about it, right? He's not gonna care. It's like, oh, it's making me money. But as a Nintendo fan, it makes me scared, thinking, oh my God, Retro is not doing what they need to be doing. They're not making a new IP. Now I understand why they're being so quiet for so long. It just feels wrong, Caleones, and I'm hoping that Nintendo, because Retro could be like Monolith Soft. You don't have to be working on your game specifically. Monolith Soft is divided in two. They're divided one section just to help Nintendo make games like Zelda Breath of the Wild, and the other section is to make new games. So Retro could be divided, and they could be making a new IP, and then the other section is helping on this non-gaming project. So that's what I'm hoping. But I guess the question back to you, would you be disappointed if you found out that Retro is not working on a game?
Okay, so I'll say, but before I say I'm disappointed, it all has to be with what it is. Of course, I would love for them to be working on a regular game, a normal game, like we would think of them like a Metroid, Donkey Kong, something like that, because they're a great developer and they're one of the most talented in the industry. So of course we wanted to make to be working on a game, but it's with the reaction that I had when Nintendo had the Nintendo Labo reveal, I would completely understand if they were working on something similar to that. So, because it's one of those things where I was left with my mouth wide open because it's something that I never thought it would be possible. And Nintendo, again, is thinking outside the box and going back to their, toy making days. So, if Nintendo, with how the stock market or their stock value raised as soon as Nintendo Labo was announced, I would completely understand what if Retro is working on a non-gaming project. But the other side of things is looking at here. I'm looking at the Retro's games and when they released. So we had Prime in 2002, Prime 2 2004. That was 2 years after. Prime 3 years after in 2007. Then they had the trilogy collected in 2009, so that was 2 years. Donkey Kong Country Returns in 2010. Then they co-developed Mario Kart 7 in 2011. Then they went and did Returns, Donkey Kong Country Returns on 2013, and Tropical Freeze on 2014. So it's been anywhere from 2 to 3 years in between those game releases. So whenever you're working on a game, the planning stages usually start before you have finished the project. So Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze came out in February of 2014. That's about to be 4 years in a couple of days. So it's been 4 years and we haven't heard a single thing about Retro except for they're working on something. That's the only thing that we've heard from them. Usually by this time, we would have seen a trailer, we would have seen something with their name attached to it, and we have not. So that's where people, I mean, they start, and I'll say people, but I'll say myself as well. We start, like thinking about what it is. Okay, so what could it be? Is it this? Is it that? And that's because they haven't been clear, and they haven't officially announced what the project could be. So with Tropical Freeze and out in 2014, it being 4 years. So that would tell you before Tropical Freeze finished, maybe in 2013, they started doing the planning of whatever it is they're working on. So that would probably put it at around 5 years of not hearing anything. So yeah, that's the hard part. Is not knowing, waiting. If it is a non-gaming project, hopefully it's going to be something like Labo, like outside the box, something completely unexpected, but that it makes complete sense, and that it is something that will push Nintendo to bigger heights. So I don't know, like I'm split until they finally announce. I probably won't be able to tell you.
Okay, we'll see, Caleones. I'm just scared. Just wanted to bring it up. Wanted to know what the peeps are saying. I know that Dick, even though he changed his name to Spork, Dick mentioned that he doesn't care as long as they do something cool. So we'll see what's going on. I'm just scared, Caleones. I want to see the retro being their fullest, and I think the idea of just splitting the team is the best way to do it.
Well, what do you want them to be working on?
A new IP. Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 is already being assigned to Namco, I believe. So,
well, I believe they said like an internal studio is working on it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a collaboration with, like Namco, as they do with Smash Brothers or something like that. But internal studio is what they said. They didn't say retro. If they would have said Metroid retro, that's all they needed to say. But yeah, they said internal studio.
So a new IP. I want to see them do something new for sure. Anyway. Hey, don't worry, Sport. Birthday party, enjoy it. Caleones, we're done with Reggie's Hot Topics of the week. So I think it's time. It's time to move. I didn't find the sound bar yet, but I'll find it later. It's time to move to Onuma's News Burst. Anyway, Caleones, go ahead. What is the first piece of news?
Okay, so the first one is that Masahiro Sakurai shares his thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it enjoyed, pretty good, first week sales. It seems like a lot of people are, continuing to be interested in the game, getting the game. We can definitely see that because, the videos that we posted on our YouTube page, people are going to them and seeing them like crazy. They're getting a lot of views. It's, and those are for the most part the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 videos. So yes, Dantes is going to be doing one later on, answering some of the doing a Q&A on some of those questions. So guys, please be patient. He will put it together for you. But yeah, just since this is your game, tell us about the news.
I mean, the sad part is my understanding Sakurai is not doing the next Smash. He's working on something new. So I was just thinking when I heard the news, so if he's such a big fan, it comes from high praise from a good developer, that he would bring some of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters to the next Smash, right? So, I'm hoping probably it's going to be Rex, but I think the one that makes the most sense is probably Tora with all his puppies. You could do something really cool combos, I believe. So, I don't know. I just wanted to say that I wish that we get Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters in the next Smash, because Shulk was a huge hit on Smash, and a lot of professionals use Shulk because he's so cool. Anyway, go to the next one.
Okay, so on the next one, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 version 1.3.0 will be coming in mid-February, and it will contain a new Game Plus. I know that by now you probably played over 300 hours on the game. So
close. Not yet,
or close to it. Yeah. But a new Game Plus, is that going to be enticing to you to jump over again?
No, I'm done. After I do all the videos that I have planned, I'm really gonna edit hardcore in the next couple of weeks, and do those videos. I want to move on officially to other games. So at some point I have to move on.
Well, hopefully the new game plus is going to allow you to carry over whatever progress. Hopefully blades as well. I know that there's some story related blades that may or may not make sense for you to have them at the beginning, but yeah, hopefully you will be able to carry them. If that's the case, it's going to make it easier for people like me just to go through the story, to enjoy the story first, and then go back and concentrate on getting everything from the game. So we'll see on that one.
Yep.
But moving over to the next one, we have Atlus is asking fans which systems they want Persona 6 and other games on. So they were running a survey asking about if they wanted Persona 6 to be featured on the PS4, on the Switch, PC, PSVR, PS Vita, and 3DS. Smartphones or something else. So
no Xbox.
No Xbox. So I mean, if they're trying to throw some shadow just so you can't figure out, and they didn't do that as okay. So on PS4 or Switch, which one? They included the other ones to kind of like not make their intents know of which ones they're interested on, but they definitely told you no, it won't be on the Xbox. So I guess you can. That's what you can take from it, but. At least, they're showing interested. What I see first happening is I probably expect something like Persona 5 Golden on the Switch before we can see number 6 on it. So I'll probably see 6 on the PS4 first, maybe a year later coming over to the Switch. Would love to have it on the same day, but the Switch does have this Shin Megami Tensei series, so it seems like Persona on the PS4. Shin Megami Tensei on the Switch. So we'll see what happens.
You have to share the love, Caleones. Keep going.
Yeah. So the next one is that Square Enix, and this is something I believe they should have done from the beginning, but Square Enix is considering Secret of Mana remake and Seiken Densetsu collection in English for the Switch. This is something that already came out. The collection came out on the Switch in Japan. The Secret of Mana remake came out on the PS4, and those are games that they're thinking about bringing over to North America and Europe. I believe that this is something they should have done already, but at the same time, with so many games that came out in 2017, I can't really blame them for not having them ready and bringing them out on 2018. But do you want
to? I've never been a huge fan of Secret of Mana, really, in reality, so I would be fine either way, but I think, again, more games on the Switch are good, so.
Okay, so moving over to the next one is the Nintendo reconfirms that there will be no more updates for ARMS. So we do know about Splatoon 2. We know that it's going to be getting an updates for a year. It's going to get Splatfest for 2 years. So, and of course, I mean, why not? Because it is currently the biggest Nintendo Switch game in Japan and one of the biggest ones in the entire world. But as far as ARMS, it seems like it already served its purpose. They feel like even if they release new content, it's not really going to maximize the sales on the system, on the game itself. So it did what it was supposed to do, which is make the genre and make the variety of games different. Maybe they're working on ARMS 2 instead of dedicating time to updates. So maybe that's what they're working on. So do you think it's okay that they stop doing new content? Or do you feel like they stopped because the game is not worth it, or because they're probably working on the sequel already? What are your thoughts on it?
Meme.
Okay, a man of few words. Well, going over to the next one, Spain has basically told us that Nintendo Switch has outsold the Xbox One when it comes to the lifetime sales. So it only took 10 months, and Nintendo Switch already number one over there. So it's something that we're going to continue hearing. We already heard I think it was last week or something about one of the South American countries already having the Switch has the best selling console. But yeah, it's no real surprise. Xbox One hasn't really jumped like the Xbox 360 did when it came out. But this also tells you about Nintendo and how much success they're finding with the Switch.
I mean, this is just normal stories throughout a lot of countries. The Switch are selling. Like I said last week, just quickly. Again, this is news burst, so I don't want to talk too much. But the other week, I stated that I'm happy that I'm seeing Nintendo competing in Sony in the worldwide, and that's what you need to do if you want to sell 100 million units. Is the only way to do it. You're not gonna do it by winning the U.S. only or Japan. You have to win or at least sell a lot in the world.
And moving over to the next one, and this is kind of like a touchy subject when it comes to some of the Nintendo fans, and it's that the Monster Hunter World's director commented on the lack of the Switch version. So basically, a long story short is the game had been on development for 4 years. When they decided to make the game, they decided to make it in a certain way, which I guess had them decide on making it for the biggest and the most powerful consoles, which at the time, of course, were the PS4 and the Xbox One. Then later on, with the Pro and the PS and the Xbox One X, they decided to amp up a little when it came to the 4K and all that. But as far as the story goes, they had not heard of the Nintendo Switch at the time. They had not seen it. They didn't know any of the specs. So of course they couldn't start making a game specific for it. And also the 3DS was in its last leg. So it's been out for 7 years. And since last year, both of us have been saying, die 3DS, die. So Capcom wasn't going to release another Monster Hunter game for it. So it's not really unexpected. As a company, it does make sense for them to do that. So was it any surprise for you?
No, the only gripe, and we both had the same gripe, is why they haven't sent, Monster Hunter XXX or 4X.
Two X's, two. That's double cross, two.
Why they haven't sent Monster Hunter XX to the States? Right now, Monster Hunter World is enjoying great success. It's over 90 Metacritic. Everybody's talking about it. So now is the time that you should be publishing that game and saying, hey, if you love Monster Hunter World in the PS4, hey, you want to take it on the go play it on the Switch too. That's where it boggles my mind. But anyway, Capcom's choice. Yeah. It makes sense, their excuse. Still, they could be giving a little bit more love to the Switch. And the Capcom has been giving love to the Switch. I'm not denying that. But Monster Hunter XX should have been over here in the States.
Yeah, and yes, I said the same thing. Double cross. Only thing they need to do is just translate it from Japanese to, perhaps English, French, Spanish, and throw in a couple, maybe Russian or something like that. But they have the game. The game's done, so that's all they need to do. And it's not really going to be too much time because it's only the text. You can leave any audio, anything as it is, just the text itself. But another thing I was thinking is, because basically you have Activision, you have the Call of Duty games, they have Treyarch, they have Sledgehammers, they have Infinity Ward working on a new Call of Duty game. So they have every 3 years, or one of those companies releases a game, which in turn makes one new Call of Duty game coming out every single year. Do you think that Capcom could do something like that? They have the Monster Hunter World franchise for Xbox One, PS4, and then they have maybe the main series, Monster Hunter 1, 2, 3, and 4, coming up with 5 on the Switch and releasing them every 2 years. So every year they have a new Monster Hunter game, and they can keep pocketing all that money. So what would you say to something like that?
Again, sure. I mean, a lot of companies divide their development inside their own studios. Monster Hunter is a big franchise, and if it becomes huge in the West, they should be pumping games left and right. Maybe some for the Switch, and maybe some for the PS4, Xbox. So, yeah. Anyway, Caleones, let's move on to the next piece.
Okay. Yeah, going over to the next one. This is another one where it's nice to hear these stories. I mean, he's not really saying much when it comes to the text, but he's actually saying a lot when it comes to the picture. So we have Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann. He actually posted a picture on Twitter, and he said, well, that's that. And on the background, you could see Mario and him having collected all 999 moons. So that's another developer giving props to Nintendo. And this is something that we should hear more about, so we can finally let all these console wars things die down. So what do you think about it?
Cool. I mean, to me, what that shows me is that a PlayStation guy is doing what a lot of Nintendo fans haven't done. Collect all the moons on your own favorite platform. Come on, guys. pick it up. Don't let the Sony guys keep showing you up. Anyway, I'm sorry. You're right, Caleones. It should be that way. It should be. Neil Druckmann just likes gaming, and he's gonna play where the best games are. And one of the best games last year was Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, and most of those developers, they're usually currently in their 30s, 40s, 50s or more. So more than likely they grew up with a Nintendo console. And I'm pretty sure in his case, he grew up with those consoles as well. So it's no surprise that he's going to be a fan of those. But that tells you about Nintendo and their quality of games. So thankfully we had that one as our number 2 game of the year last year. But that's how singing high praise for the game. But moving on to the next one, and is that Those Who Remain is coming over to the Nintendo Switch. This has been announced actually 3 days ago. It was announced. They had an announcement trailer release as well. So if you guys want to go over to your YouTube and you can see it on there. The game will also see a release on PC, PS4, Xbox One, but yet again another game coming over to the Switch. So next one is Zeo Drifter. Will be coming over to the Switch as well. This one does have a specific release date. It's going to be coming out on February 15th. Zeo Drifter, just another title for the eShop. So it keeps becoming the supermarket, which we'll be going into a little more detail later on. Aside from this one, we have Wild Guns Reloaded. It's going to come out this spring for the Nintendo Switch as well. And with this one, we are done with our news blast.
So, Caleones, this week was a little bit dry, but let's make it wet. If I wanted to know, what are the hot games coming up to the Nintendo eShop? Which is that favorite store of ours?
Well, it's going to be the Shigeru's supermarket.
Go ahead.
And yes, as Toys and More Club is saying there, yes, we do not have any more news for this week. This week's was actually it was a little bit dry when it came to news. So, sad thing is it makes our podcast be shorter, so we cannot climb over to the 15-minute mark, which is where we want to keep it. But at the same time, it let us breathe because we have the big announcement. What it seems like every single week after week, so we can calm down, we can breathe, we can dedicate our time more to the games, and that's why Dantes is working on his Xenoblade Chronicles 2 videos, because we can actually rest a little from announcements and things like that. So, but as far as the games for this week, we have what it seems to be 12. 16 games are releasing. So we have Chromagon, we have Shu, Lost Sphere, Zero Gunner 2, Tennis, Take Your Own Project, Super One More Jump, Strikers 1942 Part 2, Space Dave, Fantasy Hero, Earth Wars, Dust Off Heli Rescue 2, Celeste, Kid Niki Radical Ninja, World Heroes 2, and 10 Second Run. So, we did have a pretty good amount of games on here. The Earth Wars game is actually on discount, so it's only $4.50. So it's like a roguelike type game, so it looks pretty good. We have Lost Sphere, which is from the same makers that made I Am Setsuna, so that's another game that I'm really looking forward to playing. But when it comes to the game of the week, and this is one that is getting great reviews, and it's one of those games that is going to want to make you throw your Nintendo Switch against the wall. So just play it on the dock and throw the controller instead, and that's Celeste. So what do you say about today's week when it comes to games?
Good games. I am looking forward to Lost Sphere. I am playing I Am Setsuna this year, so expect a review from the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast for that game. And Lost Sphere, it's been getting a little bit hammered in the reviews, so it seems like the quality dipped a little bit from I Am Setsuna. I think Octopath Traveler, which is made by a different group of developers, it's probably gonna end up better, in my opinion, based on just the the excitement in the demo and everything like that. So which one is Caleones? So that's easy.
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
am
Celeste.
Dantes. What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? And then Caleones is the one with the goofy hat. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're more than happy to. Any questions you guys have, more than happy to answer. Just drop in. What I was saying. Oh, so yeah. So I would say Lost Fear would be my interested game, but I probably now with the reviews I'm gonna play it later than I expected it. And then Celeste, that's the game that I think is just killing it right now.
Yeah,
Everybody's talking about it.
It only has 8 reviews so far on Metacritic. Celeste does, but it has a 93 currently. So a lot of people are saying, like I said, it's really hard. It's something along the lines of Super Meat Boy when it comes to how difficult it is. But it's worth it. The gameplay is great. The way that you can maneuver around the stages. It is a 2D quote unquote platformer, but you really need to see the videos because it is more than that. So yeah, go ahead and give it a try. Only $19.99.
Hey, it's Mario Kid. Congratulations. You got a new sub. It's always good when you get one of those, right?
Congratulations, American.
But yeah, Celeste. I believe that would be the game of the week, right, Caleones?
It is.
Okay. Woo, 110. There you go. I think that's it. Short and sweet today, Caleones. What do you think about that? I like this efficiency that we're doing lately. I mean, I like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I like kind of this. Even then, in the past, we've been hitting the hour mark. But, you know, I think the new structure is always being... why is Nintendo killing Miitomo? So, Koopa Jr., we talked about it a little bit at the start of the show. Please go back and rewatch the stream, but we can give you the summary really quick. I believe that it is a business decision. Kamashima, the new president, saw the numbers and said, boom, I'm going to cut the fat. And Miitomo was just not making the money that they expected. So that's my belief. I don't know, Caleones, you want to add something to that question?
It's along the same lines. I also said that because Mii's are not really as featured as they used to be. So yeah, Mii's that was the first thing that you did on the Wii. Same thing on the Wii U. They had games based on the Mii's. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, the Mii's are relegated to your avatar when you're doing the avatar creation. And for Mario Kart Deluxe, you don't really see them on any other games outside of those. So Nintendo seems to be walking away from them and leaving the Mii's behind because whenever you hear of the Mii's, you go with the Wii. So that's something that they're trying to leave behind going forward over to this with the Switch. And I believe that's another reason why. So it doesn't really say that we're not going to see him in the future, but seeing Miitomo die a couple of months after Miiverse, it tells you that the Mii structure, Nintendo is not necessarily moving forward with it.
Yep, agreed. That was a short nose, but still, thank you for the question again, guys. During the chat, if you guys want us to answer questions, just please leave it. So I appreciate Koopa Coop Jr. for that question. Anyway, with that, let's end the show tonight. I want to thank everybody who joined us on the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast, episode 31. Right here at the Force In Unison gaming channel. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Right, Caleones? Comment. Please comment. So you can make these two crazy MFs happy. Also, please remember, if you don't want to see ugly faces, I understand. We're two ugly MFs. Hey, it's all good. We got a solution for you. You can go to SoundCloud and iTunes and download this podcast for free. Rate us over there so you can show up some love. Also, remember, we announced a couple of new shows, so go to the description box below so you can see the full channel schedule, baby. Monday, Xenoblade Mondays. Tuesday, Force In Unison Live. Wednesday, Streaming Wednesdays. We like to put the day of the week in the title of our shows, but that is all good. Fridays, Minecraft Friday. And then Sunday, the flagship, the Get In and Get Out Nintendo podcast. So please join us everything that we do, and we really appreciate it, is because of you, because you guys have been giving us a lot of love. I understand it's only 242 subs, but we appreciate it like it's 20,000. So we really thank you guys. And then of course we do have a Facebook page called @Force In Unison Gaming. And finally, and Dantes says finally, go to chiguerosnews.com and give some clicks and love to my boy Caleones. With all that said, Caleones, it's the Xenoblade music. I even forgot to put it, but I put it in now for your sweet, sweet, sweet hearing. Let me put also the banner before I forget. There we go.
He's in love. He has a love affair with Xenoblade Chronicles here.
Thank you for watching. Good night, everybody. Long live Nintendo. See you guys.